Welcome to today's video on the low content notebook or no content book business. The problem is when most people are starting out, they have difficulty with coming up with niche ideas. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to come up with niche ideas and how to assess their profitability and competition on Amazon and try to get you to make more sales. My name is Paul Miles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it, and that's money I'm talking about. And today's video is going to concentrate on the low content book business, and I'm going to do this as part of a series of videos. So if you want to catch the next video, then make sure you click the subscribe button and also hit that bell to turn on notifications so that you get notified when I produce the next video. So the main problem is how to come up with niche ideas and to decide whether there's a market for that particular niche or for that particular type of notebook, and to see whether there's stiff competition on Amazon, i.e. to see whether it's going to be feasible to make sales, particularly early on in your notebook career. When I first started out, I just stuck to the plain lined notebooks, which although were good, I made initial sales and it certainly spurred me on to keep producing them. I found that there was a lot of competition for these types of notebooks, and I started off, I think, like probably a lot of people do, and I was doing, sloth themed notebooks, back to school themed notebooks, llama notebooks, cactus notebooks, and I'm talking about the designs on the front, and also shark notebooks was another one that rings a bell. And again, I made sales, but not huge amounts, but it was enough to keep me sort of interested in this business. And it was only when I started to niche down and do different types of notebooks, not the plain lined notebooks, that I started to make decent money. Now, doing the plain lined notebooks, there's no problem with that. It certainly is a great way to get into the business, to learn the business, and to learn how to produce covers and interiors. But in this video, we're gonna delve a bit deeper. Now, the best tool for doing niche research is actually the Amazon page itself, and I go to Amazon.com. So we'll open up that page, and I also use two plugins, two Chrome plugins. The first one is AMZ Suggestion Expander. That's Amazon Suggestion Expander, and this is free to use. And I'll show you how this works, and I'll put the link to these plugins down in the description. So for instance, say we go to Amazon and I put in notebook in the search. You'll see that these are the standard, down here on the left, these are the standard search suggestions from Amazon that come up. But with the AMZ Suggestion Expander, you get all these other suggestions for niches on the right hand side. And another tool I use is one called Keywords Everywhere. Now this is a great tool, but recently, I think it was about 3 months ago, they did start charging for this. They charge, I think it's about $10 for 100,000 keyword searches. Now I pay for this, and out of my 100,000 over the last 3 months, I've only used about 15,000 of those credits. So in my opinion, it's worth it, but you certainly don't need to do it. But I'll show you how I find it's helpful. And that is, if we go to put in notebook again, you'll see on the left hand side, these are the standard Amazon suggestions. You can see these numbers here. So, and it gives you the search numbers per month. So for notebook, there's 110,000 searches per month on Amazon. And these are great for assessing whether there's a demand for a particular type of notebook on Amazon. But I say it's not essential. Now, the reason why the Amazon page is so good for doing niche research is because of these suggestions. And there's two reasons for this. One is these suggestions show you what people are actually searching for, But another reason to use this is that when people say put in notebook, these suggestions will come up and people will tend to click on those suggestions. So not only is it showing you what people are searching for, but it's also giving people suggestions on what to click when they're searching for a particular item. So let's get down to some niche ideas. Now I split these up into two types. One is evergreen and one is seasonal. Now evergreen niches are those that are searched for all year round. There's a constant demand for them. And the seasonal ones are things like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas, Halloween. So there's little search throughout the year, but they do peak at certain times. Now I tend to do or concentrate more on the evergreen niches because I prefer to have a constant income throughout the year rather than having these big fluctuations due to seasons. But that doesn't mean you have to do that. A lot of people make a good money out of just concentrating on the seasonal niches, but there can be quite a lot of competition for those types of low content books. So the types of niche ideas I'm going to give you are just suggestions to give you something to think about. And those are things like hobbies, sports, jobs, illnesses. When I talk about illnesses, things like diabetes, fibromyalgia, because people with those sorts of conditions will look for notebooks that will help them control their medical conditions, such as blood sugar books for diabetes. There's jobs, careers, industries, professions such as the medical profession, business, accounting, language. Then there's the seasonal ones which I've already mentioned. There's particularly school-related niches are quite popular, sort of back to school, graduation, teacher appreciation. And what I do is combine these particular niche ideas with a particular notebook type. Now you need to think of all the different types of notebooks. So there's basic notebooks, journals, logbooks, puzzle books, word books, planners, diaries, ledgers and scorebooks. So you could combine a sport, say football, with notebook, or a football scorebook, or a football diary, or even a football word search book. And the idea is to niche down, to try and get out of the niches where there's a lot of competition and find those niches, those smaller niches where there's still enough demand to make sales, but there's less competition, so you're going to be able to rank your notebook. And so the basis behind this is that you want to find a notebook idea where there is less competition, which allows you to rank higher on the Amazon page. So let's take, for instance, let's look at the football. Let's try football notebook just as a starter. So put that into the Amazon search. Now you'll see here already we're getting ideas for more niches. So we've got football notebook for boys, for kids, a journal for coaches, for fans' birthday gift. So these already are giving you suggestions that you might want to look at, and you could combine those suggestions with other niche areas. So let's just stick to the sports for the moment. So say a basketball notebook for boys, basketball notebook for kids. And what I suggest doing is, and this is what I do, is I created a big spreadsheet and I just write down all these ideas. You could do it on a notepad, on a piece of paper, so you've got something to come back to later on when you're looking for notebook ideas. Now you can see here with the football notebook on the left hand side, we've got those suggestions, and using the keywords everywhere tool, it gives you an idea of the demand. So you can see here this is searched for approximately 70 per month. Now, as I said, you don't need to use this, you can just use this to give you ideas, but this is helpful. It tells you that there is a demand. Now I normally use a cutoff of about 20. So if there's 20 or more per month, I usually note that as a reasonable demand, because you can make a profit on 20, selling 20 notebooks of a particular type a month. So let's look at the football notebook and see what comes up. Now you want to be looking at the types of books that you're going to produce. So if we see here, On the left, the first book that comes up, which is actually a sponsored book, so someone's putting this on there using Amazon ads. We're not in competition with this type of book because this is a different type of book altogether. This is a spiral bound notebook. We want to be looking at books that look like our types of book. So straight away we see here that there is a football playbook. Now that gives us an idea for a niche. And there's also another football playbook. So searching under football notebooks, it looks like playbooks might be a niche to look into deeper. Now, before I go on, I also download another plugin to Chrome, and that's the Helium 10 plugin. So if you go to the Helium 10 website, or just search for Helium 10 plugin, you'll come up with the Helium 10 browser extension. Now, the reason why this is good is that above each item you see these figures here, and this tells you its ranking, its bestsellers ranking in books, and this is vitally important because it shows you if the books are actually selling. Now, for instance, this football playbook here has a bestsellers rank of 76,249. And from that we can get an idea of the number of sales that this book is making. So to get an idea of the number of sales made, you can use a bestsellers rank tool. Now this is one of a number I use, and it's at kindlepreneur.com, and again I'll put the link down below the video. So if we take the first book and we see that the bestsellers rank is 76,249, we can put that into the tool, 76,249, and see that this book sells on average 2 per day. So 60 per month. I make on average around $2 profit per month. So this has a potential to make you $120 per month. And that's just a potential amount. These figures aren't 100% accurate. They just give you an idea. Now, when looking at this bestsellers rank, in terms of looking at profitability, I usually look to see if in the top 10 searches, if there's 2 books with a bestsellers rank less than 200,000, I usually treat that as a good indicator that this is a profitable niche to go into. So with this particular type of book, so we've got one here at 76,000, another one here at 152,000. There's one here on a defensive notebook. I presume that's a type of playbook. So we've got 3 there. So I would say that that's a pretty good idea of the profitability. And this isn't just a normal football notebook, it's actually a playbook. So we can then go and have a look inside to see what one of these playbooks looks like. So you would need to create or purchase an interior such as this. And you can see it's just a picture of a football playing field and some lines. So I would identify that as a potential niche area to go into. Now, what if we had something like an accounting notebook? Let's see what comes up when we do that. Now, first of all, let's just have a look at the menu on what comes up on Amazon. So this accounting notebook, there's actually 390 searches per month. So that tells me there's a demand, and also the fact that there's suggestions coming up here on Amazon tells me there's a demand. So let's see what appears when we do a search. Now, I tend to ignore all the books that don't look like our KDP type books. These are physical books that are produced by the actual seller. Now, this one is the type of book that would be selling, and this has got a bestsellers rank of 6,975, which gives us 18 books per day. So that's I would class that as a very profitable niche. So let's have a look down here. So we've also got this one at 30,000. We've got this one at 7,259. And this one at 2,324. So there's certainly the demand there. But we've also got to look at the competition. How easy would it be to rank a book? If we did an accounting notebook or accounting ledger. Accounting ledger seems to be a common word that's used. There's another accounting ledger, there's another accounting ledger. Well, we do this by looking over in the top left hand corner on the Amazon page, and it tells us how many results there are. Now there's 30,000 results, so you're going to have to compete with 30,000 other people. Now I try and stick to search results of less than 2,000, because with this the competition I would consider to be too high. And also another way to assess a competition would be to look at the books that you'll be competing with and how many reviews have they got. Now this one's got 235 reviews, this one's got 8 reviews, this one's got 254 reviews. Now Amazon will give preference to books in their listing that have reviews. So not only would you be competing with 30,000 other people, you would also be competing with books that have lots of reviews. And in this case, 235 reviews, 254 reviews is a very lot of reviews. You'd have to sell thousands to get anywhere near that number of reviews, but you'd have to get your notebook listed in the first place in the top 10, top 15 on Amazon, on the first page at least, to even make any sales. So it's going to be difficult, one, to get on the first page of Amazon, and two, it's going to be difficult to compete with these books that have got a high number of reviews. So although there's a demand there, and a good demand, I would say that this is at the moment too much of a competitive niche to go into. So when I look at demand, I'm looking at the number of searches, or if you're not using that paid tool, see if the actual suggestion appears on Amazon. And then I look at the books that come up on the listing, and if there's 2 with a bestsellers rank of less than 200,000, I'd say yes, there's a demand there. And then I look at the competition. So I look at the number of results that come up on the Amazon page. If there's anything more than 2,000, I tend to dismiss that. And then I look at the bestsellers rank. If there's only 2 or 3 with a bestsellers rank less than 200,000, I'd say yes, this is good to go into. If there's more than 3, and particularly if the bestsellers ranks are less than 20,000, I'd then probably avoid that niche because there's too much competition. And then I also look at the reviews of the potential competition. And if you've got books with, if you've got more than 3 books with each one's got more than 10 reviews, again, early on in your career or in your business, I'd probably avoid that for the moment until you get more experience in listing notebooks, doing actual keyword research. So I just want to look back at the football notebook again. So this looked on paper to be a profitable niche. And the reviews are sort of less than 10 for the competition. So that would tend to suggest that that's okay. There's no books with less than sort of 20,000 in the BSR. So again, that would be okay. The only problem is the search result here is over 50,000. But from looking at this, we'd see that what comes up for football notebook is football playbook. So I'd actually then go back into Amazon and put in football playbook and see that there's actually 5,400 per month searches for this, and there's more suggestions in the Amazon search bar. And we'll see how many there is for the competition. Now look, the competition, once you niche down, is 2,000. So the competition for the football playbook falls within my criteria. The number of sales falls within the criteria. The number of views falls within the criteria. And there's a high number of searches per month. So I'd say this could potentially be a profitable niche. Now you will have factors like the cover and the interior, which we'll go into in other videos. So I hope that explains just the thought processes that I go through when doing niche research, and I hope that gives you some ideas on how to go about it and some tools to use. Now, it does take time. You need to sit in front of the computer and do the niche research. And I find nowadays that I spend more time actually doing the niche research than I do actually creating the books themselves. Because just creating notebooks, you find you'll be producing hundreds and hundreds of notebooks and making, a reasonable number of sales, a few sales. But by doing your research, it means you can produce, you're spending more time on the research, but actually producing less notebooks, but in the end, making more sales. So that's it for now. I hope you liked the video. As I said earlier, click on the subscribe button and click on the bell to receive notifications when I produce further videos in this series. And also, if you do like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't, give it a thumbs down. Take care for now. Bye-bye.